Welcome to the revolution, everybody. My favorite meme of the day right here. Give me a thumbs up if that ain't the coolest meme you've seen all day. Matter of fact, Trump and Elon Musk are having a huge meeting with the executive branch that Trump has hired in to coordinate with the immigration, with the Doge team, with working together cohesively as one unit to fix our country. Glad to see it. This is actually the first big cabinet meeting they've had, and it's all live televised. I'm not going to play any of that, considering it's live on 15,000 channels today. But I will let you know it is going great. Nothing but good stuff, and they're m- melding of the minds, as you would say, or as I would say, being a little bit of a Trekkie. They are figuring out the best way to work with each other with the abilities and tools each department has to do the best they can with the opportunities and abilities they've got with the tools they've got. Just a great way to bring in the team, have a huddle, figure out plan A, plan B, plan C, and get to work. I am glad that we won this, that Trump won, we won, the American people won, and it shows. I find very little bad news on the internet anymore. I'm scrolling through news, and the worst thing I find is Trump and Elon are getting sued. That's about the extent of the bad news I have seen lately. But there's tons of good news out there, folks. I can't even tell you how many articles I passed up that was good news just in order to bring y'all a 20, 30, 40 minute long video. Trying to splice it down a little bit. I could literally run through articles for 3 days of good stuff that's happened in the last 48 hours. It is no joke. The wins keep coming, and a lot of them we're not even going to see. It's going to be the little things that involve one person getting fired that really needed to go, or this money being clawed back from this agency that we didn't have a clue about. These are all just punches and jabs. These are body blow to the establishment, to our to the way that we're going to have things done in the future. We're not going to allow our country to be budgeted by a bunch of bureaucrats in such a way that the taxpayers pay for 90% of everything that the government does, whether we agree with it or not. That's over. And I believe that. Hopefully, it'll be over forever. But if not, at least for the next 4 to 8 years, we will get our ship running in the right direction. We're going to get our budget fixed. We're going to start knocking on our deficit by selling some of our minerals. We got Zelensky coming to town Friday to sign off on all those $500 billion worth of mineral rights because all the money that Biden gave him during the Ukraine debacle. And so that's another win for us. We're going to get $500 billion of our of collateral assets in Ukraine. Another great win. Another one from the deal maker, otherwise known as Donald J. Trump. All right, folks. Like I said, I got several clips here. I'm going to bring you all a whole lot of headlines. It's all good stuff, including voter fraud, not just being exposed, but being investigated on a statewide level, and voter criminals committed fraud being indicted, being investigated. We'll get to that here directly. It has been a glorious month, folks. This has been the best 30 days I can imagine ever as far as a news cycle goes. For example, this right here. Judge orders Big Fannie Willis to testify under oath about the crimes that she committed during the RICO lawfare case against Trump. You know what that means? That means her ass is going to jail. We have seen the video footage of her in her pink inside out dress lying to the court. These people have already been proven to be liars, proven to be going after Trump with this lawfare. Her and her boyfriend, Nathan Wade, went to the White House, billed had lawyer billing hours to go hang out at the White House to get marching orders from the Department of Justice to go after Trump. All this is common knowledge now, and this lady's gonna go to jail behind her weaponization lawfare bullshit. And this is just the beginning for her. I'm glad to see it. Throw that case at her, get her under oath, make her admit again to everything that she's done, and hope that she'll get a lighter sentence. In theory, right? I say they need to take every one of them and say, okay, if you want a deal, if you want to stay out of prison, every one of these criminals, you're going to have to tell on 5 people that we don't know about. That would be the ideal way to do it. Says a new proposal by a Republican lawmaker aims to create a $250 bill featuring none other than President Trump. What do you think about that, folks? It's just a proposal. He got to bring it before Congress. I don't know if it's in the budget or not, but Joe Wilson, grateful to announce that I am drafting legislation to direct the Bureau of Engraving and Printing to design a $250 bill featuring Donald J. Trump. Biden inflation has destroyed the economy, forcing American families to carry more cash. Most favorable bill for most favorable president. I can get down with that. Pretty cool. I think I just want to. I think I would put up my money in savings in $250 bills instead of $100 bills, just because they got Trump on them. I think that'd be cool. All right, folks. Now Mitch McConnell will be out of there 2026. He's not running again. Well, he's got a mentorship program with his protege and likely successor. And this guy declares himself MAGA, not a rhino, and then slams Mitch McConnell for his efforts to sabotage Trump and all his picks and things over the last couple of weeks. His confirmations. Let's go ahead and watch this together. This is, let me get his name real quick. So Daniel Cameron says, I'm running for the U.S. Senate to defend the constitutional rights and support President Trump's America First agenda. I'm running to ensure that senators in Washington reflecting your values and helping President Trump to restore the promise of America.
Hey everybody, it's Daniel Cameron. I just want to say thank you for the outpouring of support I've received since announcing my candidacy for the United States Senate. I'm going to be the type of senator that stands up for your constitutional rights and is going to support President Trump's America First agenda. Now, what we saw from Mitch McConnell in voting against Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, and RFK was just flat out wrong. You should expect a senator from Kentucky to vote for those nominees to advance the America First agenda. If I was in the Senate, I would have voted for those nominees because I recognize it reflects your values and it supports that agenda. Now, I'm not just saying these things, you know my track record, because as Attorney General, I was fighting for your constitutional rights. I was the first Attorney General in the nation to stand up and oppose ESG, and I've been a vocal opponent of DEI. And I was the first elected office holder here in Kentucky to endorse President Trump for re-election because I believe in him and I believe in the America First agenda.
That's what I need to hear. Hopefully he's the real deal. We'll find out a little more along the way. I'll have to look into his AG credentials, see what he actually did in Kentucky. But if we're trading out Mitch McConnell for a MAGA America First, that sounds like a win to me. I am all ready for it. That dinosaur Mitch McConnell needs to go retire somewhere in a tar pit somewhere. Now, the other day, Rachel Madcow was throwing a fit because her friend, Joyless Reed, got crap canned, and so did some of the other black talent at the station. And so Rachel Maddow went on, did a little whole spiel, trying to cater to the black audience that no longer have their freak show to watch. So Rachel Maddow's hoping that those listeners will come on over to her side because Rachel Maddow's ratings are almost as bad as the previous that just got shit canned. And guess what happens on top of that? After this bloodbath that is going on NBC with wiping out, I would say they've knocked out about 6 or 7 people as of this week that we know of. Well, breaking news as of today, we got some more gone, included MSNBC's Rachel Maddow's production team is out of there. Executives fire majority of Rachel Maddow's production team. Maybe she'll have to do her own research and come up with her own stories and not just be a talking head. But at any rate, Rachel Maddow went unhinged the other day on the network, suggested that MSNBC was racist for ousting her 2 non-white hosts after Joy Reid was canceled. And I guess in turn, they're probably considering getting rid of her too. But they did at least punish her for talking shit to the station that pays her. So they took her staff away from her. Saves them a little money. And she can get over being big mad. She'll have something else to cry about besides Trump today. I love it. I love it. Nothing but good news, folks. I love to bring y'all good news. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. I had to do that for 4 years or 3 years doing this podcasting under the Biden administration. It was miserable. There was days I didn't even want to report because the news was so crappy. I'd scroll through the Gateway Pundit and be 15 articles and only one of them have any decent information in it. I was literally almost hopeless at one point for our country, with the exception of believing that we were going to take our country back by making it too big to rig. And we did that, folks. We did it. Everybody showed up and we won. We've taken our country back. Election wise, now the people in part of Trump, all of Trump's team, are now actually doing the groundwork to get it done. The deporting, the cost cutting, the fixing the agencies, the firing and prosecuting, the stuff we really need right now. And a month in, I would never expected so much. All I could say is hats off to the entire team. All right, folks, I've got a video clip here of Christy Nome. Now, if you remember, several days ago, Tom Homan said there was a leaker somewhere in the probably Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, maybe even somebody working for ICE. They wasn't really sure, but they kind of thought it may have been somebody that was working for DHS, disgruntled employee maybe. But as of today, Christy Nome has got a little bit of information about the leakers that kept telling off on where Tom Homan was showing up next to arrest the Tren de Aragua and the MS-13s and these different gangs. So, in theory, after we listen to what she says, that won't be a problem anymore, at least for the people that were doing it as of recently. So, I hope these people continue to act like they want to leak and lose their jobs. If it's worth losing your job and maybe your freedom behind getting on the phone to try to save some illegals, I think your priorities are all messed up. And I hate it for you.
I have found some leakers. We are continuing to get more. They will be fired.
Good.
There will be consequences. And remember, when they leak information to the press in order to blow an op, they are putting law enforcement lives in jeopardy. They are risking their lives. We have used every tactic that we have. If you remember, we talked just last week about how I'm using polygraphs to go after and to really interview these folks. Because we are a national security agency, I have that tool I can use. Also looking at their emails, looking at their communications. And it's amazing how these bureaucrats who have an agenda to stop the work that we're doing to bring safety to America, how they will sell each other down the river if it's just to protect themselves. So don't worry, I am doing everything to find these leakers and to get rid of them so that we can do our work and our law enforcement officers and agents can do it safely. I have found.
Now, one of the things that I caught in that conversation, you'll hear that roaring in the background. That's SpaceX. I live 20 miles from McGregor. I don't know if y'all can hear the roaring in the background. I hate it. Our front door's open. It's a nice, beautiful 77 degrees today. And so we're just going to have to listen to a little SpaceX roar for a few minutes. Happens every evening. One of the key things that she said was that these leakers will not only be fired, but because they're obstructing an investigation, they will be prosecuted. That was the best part for me, folks. I'm so ready for that. Done caught some leakers. All right, folks, this thing gets done spooling. We'll jump right on to the next one. I got a few more to go. This is great news. 2 counties in New York are defying Governor Hochul and cooperating with President Trump to deport illegal aliens. So Rensselaer County has an agreement with ICE to hand over all illegals, and Nassau County set aside 50 jail cells for illegal aliens and deputized some county detectives with the authority to make immigration arrests outside jail facilities. Good. They're localizing talent. Good. That's what every city needs to do. They need to put so many people in their police force as their objective is to round these people up. We're going to have to do that one way or another. We're going to have to get these. We're going to have to find a way to expedite the process. Excuse me. Says more counties and blue states should do exactly the same thing, and I believe they will. When it comes down to the pressure of not being funded anymore, I think that will be the great divide between uh, governors, governors and mayors and representatives that claim that they're sanctuary cities. But when the money runs out and the ass get a charge, it won't happen again. It'll only take once for them to FAFO. And I'm ready. I'm waiting for Tom Homan to have to arrest somebody for obstruction. Says, you said it's completely corrupted when American taxpayer dollars are funding terror organizations leading to the death of American citizens. Something is extremely wrong. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene dropped this just not long ago. I mean, hour or so ago. Great clip. Here we go.
We'll be making a report in the coming week based on our hearing today. It looks to be that USAID has been completely corrupted. One of our witnesses today talked about USAID funding that went to terrorists, leading to the actual deaths of Americans as well as others. And I think we're going to be looking at an investigation, potentially criminal referrals based on that.
Boom.
That is so serious and egregious.
Boom.
But the administration.
Now, that wasn't good news unless you listen to the fine print and the last detail of it. We'll be doing some criminal referrals. So when we realize we got this many crooks that you said that we know took the money or boomerang the money back to self, the Adam Schiffs and all the rhinos and everybody else that was taking the money, probably half of Congress. When we find out that they've had their hand in the cookie jar, there's no reason to allow them to continue business through another agency down the road while we're not paying attention. These people need to be handled up on. They're criminals. They've been stealing our tax dollars for years and years, and everybody that has been profiting off of our tax dollars being stolen are criminals, and the ass need to go to jail. So criminal referrals is what I want to hear. I do believe Adam Schiff is going to go to jail. I have to believe that at this point in time. I don't believe that Trump has assembled this awesome team to have people like Dan Bongino come in and just talk shit and let people make it. I don't believe it's going to go down like that. Now, this is a little change of venue, but it's good stuff too. 5 Democrats in Bridgeport, Connecticut, very woke blue state, officially indicted on voter fraud charges over mail-in ballots. They got caught on camera stuffing the boxes, and this includes city employees. I remember seeing this on the news very clearly while the left-wing media was trying to downplay it, even though it was still being broadcast. Yeah, these folks are in trouble. Vice chairman of the Bridgeport Democratic Town Committee, facing 92 separate criminal charges, including conspiracy to unlawfully possess multiple voter absentee ballots. Boom. Alfredo Castillo, city council member, charged with multiple counts of misrepresenting eligibility requirements of absentee voting and unlawful possession of ballots. Boom. Maria Pereira, city council member, facing charges of fraudulent voting and being present during the execution of absentee ballots. It says, Jasmarie Melendez, city council member, charged with misrepresenting ineligible requirements for absentee voting. Stratford resident and campaign staffer accused of unlawfully possessing absentee ballots. So the whole entire city council was making sure they won and continued to keep their job, and they got busted on film doing the old 2000 mule thing, the old drop box shuffle. And it was just right outside their headquarters. I can't believe they literally walking out the door and dropping them in the drop box, walking out the door and dropping them in the drop box many times over until it became suspicious. Now, speaking about election fraud, the state of Ohio has decided they want to really look into some things going on in their state as well. It says big update: 20 Ohio counties, that's almost half the state, launches investigations into suspicious progressive groups that allegedly turned in piles of phony voter registrations. You know, this, I'm going to find the name right here. It's called Black Fork Strategies, just like GBI Strategies. Black Fork Strategies is another one of these ballot harvesting companies that uh, they're in it for the steal, and they're highly funded through the NGOs, through the Democrat Party. And I've seen Blackport Strategies named 2 dozen times in different reports involving election shenanigans and their ballot stuffing processes. And they work really heavily in states where it's legal to ballot harvest there. And so they are basically the contractor that comes in and makes sure the job gets done. Well, as is, it looks like there is a lot of shenanigans that went on as far as the numbers go, and they know it. The Board of Elections has already had several meetings about it. Uh, they've had meetings about it for the last 6 months, as a matter of fact, and we're now getting to the point where the investigation is kicking off into GBI Strategies and Blackport Strategies as the main culprit of the crime. Glad to see it, folks. They need to go after any of these NGOs or any of these contractors that did anything to subvert the will of the people or to manipulate the election results, whether it be by ballots or by any means they did. If they mess with the election, it's election interference. It should be handled upon at the least. I believe we're going to find some accountability during this presidential term. We're going to actually see people go to jail. We're going to see people get probation that need to go to jail. We're going to see people indicted. We're going to see people kicked out of office. And one of the ones I was thinking about yesterday going to jail was Adam Schiff. And I believe he will go down. And they picked the honeypot charge on him because it's probably the easiest one to prove and put him in the convicted criminal uh, section of the sheet. Once we get Adam Schiff a convicted criminal over one thing, he's going to have to roll over on the deep staters that helped him pull off this Russia collusion hoax, all this Trump impeachment crap, everything that they've done against Trump, Crossfire Hurricane, all of that stuff, spying on the president's team, all that stuff, including putting General Flynn in jail, all that's coming out. Cash Patel knows where all the bodies are buried, and Dan Bongino knows the story inside and out as well. So as far as them destroying evidence, they've probably been destroying evidence since November at every agency, knowing that at one point there's going to be accountability. But I don't think it's actually going to help because this story is already out there. The facts are available and screenshotted and saved and documented. I think Cash Patel doesn't have all the information, not just in his head, and I'm sure General Flynn as well. I bet Space Force has got a lot of that stuff too. But I won't get into that today. That's a whole nother conversation. But this is here a great clip of one of my favorites, General Flynn with Benny Johnson.
We got whistleblowers coming out of the woodwork, and we're funneling it into the right governmental offices to do the right things. And
yes,
let me tell you, these people are busted. And so for Jim Comey, that's what I said earlier. Jim, if you get this message, start thinking about what you're gonna give up, because you're gonna give up some of your freedom because you're gonna go to jail. You must go to jail because of what you did. But maybe they'll cut you a little bit of a deal, and they'll put you in a softer prison for a shorter period of time because you're able to give up some evidence on some of these other people who are even more deeper than you involved in this. Because Jim, you know exactly who I'm talking about. We got whistleblowers coming out of the woodwork.
And it's going down just like that, folks. We're going to snatch these people up, put the light on them, put them in the interrogation room, and tell them you got a couple of choices: either you're going to jail for a little while, or you're going to jail forever. How you want to play this? I can see it now. Good cop, bad cop. I think I would make Adam Schiff as part of his punishment come on live television and tell everybody every lie he's ever spouted as part of his punishment. To come out and admit as part of his conviction, when they do convict him, of everything that he did against Trump. Written down sworn statements that we can actually read. It says, I lied, I lied, I lied, I lied, I lied. I cooperated, I colluded, I treasoned. all that stuff. I want to see Adam Schiff's signature on the bottom of his confession. I don't think they're going to let it go any other way. It says AG Pam Bondi is scheduled to release of the Epstein client list at 12 noon on the 29th, folks. That's just days away. Days away. Stay tuned for the updates. I love it. I love it. That's great news as well. We were kind of worried about that slow walk on that thing. Now the list is going to be dropped. But I don't think they wanted to drop the list before they had a good idea where everybody that's on the list is located so they don't go to bouncing around to these non extradition countries because some of those people on that Epstein list, client list, their ass probably going to jail too. I'm glad to hear it, folks. More than rather have a $5,000 dividend check, I would much rather have all these criminals knocked out of our government, knocked right into a cage for the remainder of their life for the way they have treated this country, treated our president, treated the taxpayer. Uh, just they've just about destroyed our country, and that's over. Now it's time to kick the enemy's ass, take care of business, fix everything, including prosecute the criminals. Has to be done. Prosecute the criminals. Has to be done. That's what I got for you today, folks. Hopefully everybody enjoyed. But like I said at the